to Scott's Making Sports Daily, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back with my dad today. We are here to do our first college football and NFL predictions for the season. Football season's just around the corner here, about 2 weeks out for preseason football here in Orlando. Very excited to see football back in our lives. We definitely need it with how boring baseball has been over the past couple of months. So let's get into our UCF predictions first. First game out, first game of the season at home, September 2nd at home against Boise State. Josh Malzahn's first home game. No, I don't think this is going to be a close game as most people think. I like UCF to win this game by about 10 points here. I think Gus Malzahn's going to have this team ready to go. Boise State's not going to be used to the heat down here on a Thursday night. 7 o'clock first kickoff. I'm expecting about 90 degrees here first kickoff. Give me UCF to get a win because of the heat and having 100% fan attendance this year. So give me UCF over Boise.
This is a non-Power 5 marquee matchup. You're looking at two of the probably most non-Power 5 story programs over the last 10 years. Boise State owning the first 5 of those 10 years, and then UCF owning the last 5 of the 10 years. So this is a big game. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I think the fact that we've got home field advantage will make the difference. I like UCF by a field goal.
Next up, taking on Bethune-Cookman. No problem here. I wouldn't even be shocked to see our starters not even play this game. Give me UCF to win this game easily over Bethune-Cookman. They're coming in here to get their money and their butts whooped, so I expect it to happen here. So give me UCF at home by about 40 points.
I agree, Scott. I don't know if UCF will win by 40, but it'll be close, probably in the 30s. UCF will be 2-0 after the Bethune-Cookman game.
Next up, on the road at Louisville, our first road game of the season. Me and Riley were just talking about this earlier. Last time we were there, 2013, Blake Bortles to Jeff Godfrey in the end zone. I actually didn't even get to see the first half of that game. I was actually at a Orlando Magic preseason game with tickets that my dad got from work. So I'm going to take UCF, though. I think I told Riley earlier today, Louisville is not the same team that they were back then. So I'll take UCF by about 17 points on the road at Louisville.
Boy, I don't know about 17 points. I'm going to pick UCF in a very close one. I agree Louisville's not as good as they were in 2013, but neither are we. We're coming off a 6-4 season. I think UCF wins on the road, but I think it's going to be less than a touchdown.
One of the worst teams in the ACC, so we'll see.
I understand.
Next up, on the road at Navy. I probably will not be able to watch this game. I'll be at State's winning no matter what for that weekend, even if I'm competing or not. Give me UCF to get a road win at Navy. I told Riley today this game will be about 21 to 14 point win. Navy's not as good as what they were a couple seasons ago, so I'll take UCF on the road to get a win at Navy.
I'm going to agree with Scott again, although I think it's going to be more like a 10-point victory. Navy's a tough offense to stop. Our run defense has not been good over the last year or so, but I do think we'll beat Navy on the road 4-0.
Next up, at home against East Carolina, family weekend here at UCF. No problem here, probably the biggest blowout of the season besides the Bethune-Cookman game. I'll take UCF to get a 21 to 28 point win over East Carolina.
I agree again with Scott. I think UCF will beat East Carolina. East Carolina is actually a little improved. The football program has been a little improved over the last couple of seasons. But I think UCF wins it. It'll be like a 14-point game.
Next up, the biggest game of the year for UCF on the road at Cincinnati. Huge game. I'm expecting College Game Day to be there for this game if both teams are undefeated. I think we'll hold up our end of the bargain. I don't know about Cincinnati, though. They might have 2 losses sitting there on the schedule. But I'm going to take Cincinnati at home. I think that crowd's going to be a little bit too much for our offense to handle this year. That defense is still very good. I'm going to take Cincinnati to win a close one at home against UCF.
I don't want to continue to agree with Scott, but I have to agree with him on this one. As much as I'd like to pick UCF in this one, I think Cincinnati at home is going to just be too good for us, and I think we get our first loss of the season.
Next up, at home against Memphis. Last year, and a complete embarrassment last year on defense, on the defensive side of the ball, scoring 48 points and losing to Memphis last year. I do not think our defense will be as bad as it was last season. I think our new defensive coordinator looks good. So I'm going to take UCF at home against Memphis.
Hopefully this is the revenge tour a little bit for some of these games. Memphis last year embarrassed our defense, and now with us getting Memphis at home this year, I think we will beat Memphis, but it'll be a close one.
Next up, on the road at Temple. I'm feeling pretty good about this game. Give me UCF on the road to get a win at Temple.
Only thing that makes this game up in the air potentially is the fact that we're on the road, but I agree with Scott. I think we beat Temple on the road.
Next up, at home against Tulane, homecoming weekend. I don't think there's a better team to play on homecoming weekend besides Tulane. I'll take UCF to get a home win against Tulane.
Perhaps my friend Scott forgets that we lost to Tulane last year. And again, this is part of a revenge tour, but at Tulane, for whatever reason, gave us an awfully tough game last year. I think we will get revenge this year and beat Tulane at home.
Next up, on the road at SMU, probably our second toughest game of the season in the conference. But I think UCF finds a way to win this game. I think Dylan Gabriel will make just enough plays in this game. Give me UCF on the road to get a win at SMU.
Unfortunately, I'm just not sold on UCF's talent from last year and how bad our defense was. I think Malzahn's a great coach and he'll do a terrific job. But I think this is going to be our second loss of the season at SMU in a very, very close game. I can see this one going either way, but I got SMU beating us on the road.
Next up, UConn at home. Give me UCF to win this one pretty easily. I think no problems here. UConn doesn't really have a good football program, so I'll take UCF at home over UConn.
I agree. I think there was some discussion about UConn scrapping their football program at one point. UCF should win this pretty handily.
And it's a November home game, so that'll be pretty nice weather, I think. Now on to Black Friday, UCF in South Florida. UCF looking to make it 5 in a row against the Cows, and I think they'll do just that here. Give me UCF to get a win here over South Florida. No problems here. UCF wins this one over a very untalented USF team this year.
I agree. I mean, under Charlie Strong, South Florida just has not been the team that people expected them to be. I think UCF under Malzahn is just a better coach team to get the win.
And I do believe we will be in the AAC championship game this year. I think we've worked our way back in, but I don't think we're going to beat Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's going to take both games away from us this year. So I'll take Cincinnati to win the conference, but pretty good season, 2 losses on the season.
I actually disagree with Scott. I do think we'll get to the conference championship game, but I think we will beat Cincinnati in the AAC championship.
Did we make the New Year's Six this year?
Not with 2 losses.
No.
Unfortunately.
Now into the Bucks predictions. I think we're feeling much better about this team than we are about UCF this year. First game out Thursday night, week 1 of the season. Should be pretty hot first Thursday of the year. 8:20 first kickoff, taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Give me the Bucks to win this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game both ways. Dak, I think, will look good in his first game back. But I trust the Bucks defense to make enough plays here in this game. Give me the Bucks at home against the Cowboys.
If you watch any of the ESPN preseason shows, they talk a fair amount about the Bucks, as they should, because we're defending champions. But they talk about the Cowboys over and over and over again, despite the fact that the Cowboys have won like 1 playoff game in the last 5 years. They talk about Dak Prescott constantly. So I'm hoping that we can quiet the discussion about the Cowboys and beat them handily. But I think actually will be a pretty close game, high scoring, as Scott said. But I think the Bucks will win against the Cowboys at home.
Next up, at home against the Atlanta Falcons. This is actually a 4 o'clock game. I thought they had this one scheduled as a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. Smart that they have it as a 4 o'clock game with the heat exhaustion here in Tampa. Give me the Bucks to get a win here at home. Monty Kiffin going into the Ring of Honor on this day. I don't think that's good news for us because we usually do not play well in these Ring of Honor games, but that was with Jameis, and I think Brady will do enough this week. Give me the Bucks at home over the Falcons.
I agree. I think there'll be a little letdown because the Cowboys will be a big build-up for that game, but I still think we've got enough to beat the Falcons at home.
Next up, on the road at the Los Angeles Rams. Heartbreaking start to the year for them after losing Cam Akers to a torn ACL this year. I still think the Rams are a little bit better, so I'm going to take the Rams at home against the Bucks. But if this game was at home, I would have taken us. But on the road, I think it's too much to ask. I'll take the Rams to get a win against the Bucks in Week 3.
I'm going to agree again with Scott. I think that the game the week after we're playing the Patriots, which is a game that everyone will be talking about. The Rams is obviously a big game as well, but I think we're going to look past the Rams a little bit towards the Patriots, and I think that the Rams are one of the 2 or 3 most talented teams in the NFC. So I think we do lose our first game on the road at the Rams.
Next up, like my dad was just saying, out on the road at New England. I should be home from state swimming by 8 o'clock at night on that Sunday. Give me Tom Brady to show the Pats and Bill Belichick why he was the reason why they won those Super Bowls. I will take the Bucs to win this game by about 17 points on the road. I do not believe in Cam Newton. I don't think he's a good quarterback. So I'll take the Bucs on the road to beat the Pats.
You're going to have a very motivated Brady. You've got Cam Newton, who's, it's certainly the bottom half of quarterbacks in the NFL. If you got Brady versus Newton, give me Brady every time. I like the Bucs.
Next up in a game that me and my friend Riley will not be talking to each other for that entire week, it'll be Bucs and Dolphins at Raymond James Stadium. The Bucs won the last 3 in the regular season. Make it 4 straight for the Bucs here. I'll take the Bucs at home over the Dolphins.
I agree with Scott. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think the Dolphins will be improved this year, and I think this could be like a field goal type game. But I think just because the Bucs are at home, if they were on the road at Miami, I might take Miami, but I'll take the Bucs in this one at home.
Next up, Thursday Night Football. Our second Thursday night game of the season is we take on Jalen Hurts and the Eagles in Philly. I'll take the Bucs to get a win here on the road against the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, this is a trap game. It's a Thursday night game after playing some big opponents, so I could see the Bucs not playing their best, but I think they've got enough talent that they'll probably get by the Eagles. But it'll be close.
Next up, at home against Chicago. This is a revenge game for last season. This is a game that Tom Brady forgot what down it was last season in Chicago. Give me the Bucs to get revenge in this game. I believe the home team's won 4 straight in this series. Make it 5 in a row. I think Brady will get revenge here and get a win against Chicago at home.
I agree. I don't think the Bears are very good at quarterback, and I think that we played pretty poorly at Chicago last year at home. I like the Bucs.
Next up, in the first of 2 games against the New Orleans Saints. Don't know who their quarterback's going to be yet. Hopefully it's Jameis, but I'm very scared that it could be Aaron Rodgers. I'm afraid they could trade for Aaron Rodgers before the season starts, but I hope that doesn't happen. If it doesn't happen, I will take the Bucs on the road to get a win against the Saints.
There's always a game during the season where you lose a game you expect to win, and at New Orleans is always a tough place to play. I'm going to take the Saints in this one, in just sort of a surprise loss for the Bucs. I think the Saints will win this one, regardless of who's playing at quarterback.
Next up, into Week 10 of the season, taking on the Washington football team. Big game here. There's one thing you don't want to do, and that's play against Tom Brady after a bye week. I will take the Bucs on the road in Washington to defeat Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Washington football team.
I agree. Again, Washington not great at quarterback. I mean, I love Fitzpatrick, but he's quite inconsistent at this point in his career. And you've got the Bucs coming off a bye. I like the Bucs.
Next up, Monday Night Football. Bucs at home against the Giants. Last year, the Giants gave us a tougher run than what we expected last year on Monday night. This time it's at home. Last time they were here, they did beat us because of Matt Gay missing 5 field goals. That was a fun game to watch. I'll take the Bucs to get a win here with better field goal kicking this year. I'll take the Bucs at home against the Giants.
The Giants will be improved over last year. They can't get much worse. With that said, I think the Bucs have too much and they get the win.
Next up, on the road at the Colts. I will take the Bucs to get a win here. I think Tom Brady's going to outplay Carson Wentz, and I will take the Bucs on the road to get it done against the Colts.
This is another surprise sort of game that I think Indianapolis has shown in the past that they've got a good defense, a good running game, and I think Carson Wentz is going to have a resurgence in Indianapolis. I think the Colts are going to upset the Bucs during this week.
Next up, on the road at Atlanta. I think we've won like 5 in a row at Atlanta. Make it 6. I think Tom Brady's going to play much better than he did last year in Atlanta. I think it was much too close for my liking last year in Atlanta. I'll take the Bucks on the road in Atlanta to get a win.
Again, based on my theory, the Bucks just lost to the Colts, so they're obviously going to bounce back and be very fired up to play the Falcons, and I think they get a win.
Next up, at home against the Buffalo Bills. Here's where I think we have our second loss of the season. I'll take Josh Allen to outplay Tom Brady this week. I think Josh Allen's going to have a very good season like he has been the last couple of years. I'm going to take the Bills to get a slight upset win on the road against the Bucks.
I think this is a game that we'll be up for. We're going to look at the Bills as a potential Super Bowl opponent, and I think we'll actually be up for this game at home. Give me the Bucks over the Bills.
Next up, I'll actually be at this game at home against New Orleans the Sunday before Christmas. Jameis Winston's return to Tampa. I will take the Bucks at home to give Bucks Nation an early Christmas present and get a win at home against the Saints.
Remember, I mentioned earlier I thought we were going to lose on the road at New Orleans. This is our revenge game. I think we'll play much, much better and win the game against New Orleans at home.
Next up, the day after Christmas, we go on the road to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Give me the Bucks to get a win here on the road at Carolina. I think this is going to be a pretty easy win. I'll take the Bucks on the road to get a win at Carolina.
Here's where it gets tough to pick because at this point you don't know whether we have the division locked up. You don't know whether we're still playing for something. But assuming that we still have our starters in, we're playing for something, I think we win on the road against Carolina as well.
Next up, on the road at the New York Jets. If I was Bruce Arians, I wouldn't even play Tom Brady this week. Let Kyle Trask start this game and show that he's got the potential to be the future of this team. So I think even with our backups, we can beat the Jets. Give me the Bucks on the road to get it done against the Jets.
Again, assuming that the Bucks are playing their starters and they've got something to play for, I also like the Bucks to beat the Jets.
Next up, at home against Carolina, Week 18. My dad did say that there's one game where you expect to win every single year, and you don't win it. This is it. I think our starters are out for this game. I think we'll have the number 1 seed in the NFC locked up. I'll take Carolina to pull off a big upset on the road against Tampa.
That's a good pick. I think that makes sense. I still think that the Bucks are going to have something to play for at this point, like maybe the number 1 overall seed. So I'm going to take the Bucks to win against Carolina.
And that will do it for this.
So we both have them going 13-3, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, 13-3 both.
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
And that will do it for this episode of Scott's Weekend Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back next week with my Kentucky and Pittsburgh Steelers predictions for my buddy Terry Jewell. And I'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott's Weekend Sports. Always like, subscribe, comment, and share these videos with your friends because I need subscribers. And I'll see you guys right back here next week on Scott's Weekend Sports. See you later, guys.
See you guys.